Today I should be playing Uncharted 4. Metacritic, I think right now is something like a score of 94 out of 100 from all the professional reviews. A lot of them are around 100, some are in the 90s, but there's, as a general rule, universal acclaim to the game. There's a bit of a rhyme for you there. And instead, I am sitting here talking to you, looking at my entertainment area in and around my television, and there is an empty space. An empty space where a PlayStation 4 should be. One that I would have bought for the specific purpose of playing Uncharted 4, because Uncharted 4 for the PlayStation 4 is for me what Metal Gear Solid 4 was on the PlayStation 3. It was that critical mass event where finally there were enough really good exclusive games that I wanted to play out for the PlayStation 3 that would get me off my ass and down to my nearest GameStop to buy myself a PlayStation 3 and said exclusive titles. And instead, I'm sitting here talking to you, talking to the interweb, out into the well, it isn't an empty expanse of the interweb, but the chaotic mess of anarchy and detritus and both quality and good and not so good content that is on the internet, on YouTube in particular, and I am PlayStation 4 less. I am Uncharted 4 less. I have neither. And it doesn't look like I'm going to have either any time in the immediate vicinity, because Sony has decided that the PlayStation 4, it appears, isn't good enough, and they have what has been codenamed internally as Neo, or Project Neo as some people are referring to it as, or as the public knows it as, PlayStation 4K, is in development, and it is probably going to be announced next month in June. I believe next month is E3, yeah? June is when E3 is on. And at E3 it will be announced, and if the leaked specs that have been leaked recently and that I've talked about in a previous video are anything to go by, then it's going to be considerably more capable, certainly in terms of graphics, than the PlayStation 4 and the standard PlayStation 4. And my guess is that the new system will probably be available for the current price of PlayStation 4, around 400 quid or thereabouts, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. And if I go out and buy a standard PlayStation 4 tomorrow, or today even, it's likely that the price of the hardware is going to fall by at least 100 quid, which means if I try trading it in, I'm going to not get back the money, anything like the money I paid for it if I trade it in to help fund the purchase of a PlayStation 4K. So I'm sitting here on my couch with the DOG right next to me, for the moment behaving himself and being quiet, looking at the empty space, surrounded by my surround sound, my audio video receiver box, which is ancient at this stage, but it works, so I'm still using it, and my Xbone, and yes, that's where the empty space where my PlayStation 4 should be, but is not, because I can't go out and buy one. And I've never been in this kind of position before, because, it's been, no one's done this. No one has, there have been cases where new versions of like the PlayStation 3 cut down versions were released where, and by cut down I mean multimedia functionality or the SD card slot stuff or backward compatibility with the PlayStation 2 was removed to save money, but the core gaming functionality, the chips, weren't changed or modified at all. I mean, yeah, over time they take advantage of new fabrication processes and shrink the chips so they can get more of them out of a silicon wafer, and that's how you get your Xbox Slim and your PlayStation 3 Slim and your 360 Slim and so on. But apart from that, that's all that's been done. And now they're gone out and they're, now there's, I mean, again, I'm getting a bit of the ranting and raving here. Well, not actually ranting and raving, but it's the first time I can remember where a console manufacturer, a platform holder, has actually effectively designed genuinely new, meaningfully new, more capable hardware in a single console generation. Admittedly, the 360 and the PlayStation 3 were a bit long in the tooth when they were replaced, to put it mildly. I mean, 360 was 8 years old, PlayStation 3 was 7. But in all honesty, if they could have, if they couldn't build the machines they actually wanted for 2013 launch at $399, then Sony should have bumped the price up to £100 like Microsoft did with the Xbox One, and rather than throwing that money down the drain on a fancy motion controller like Microsoft did, they should have just put fancier chips in the box. I mean, that would have done the trick. But they didn't, and now, I mean, if I bought a PlayStation 4 last Christmas, I would be, pissed. And there's a good chance we might be looking at a 50 to 100 dollar/euro price cut announced at E3 for the standard PlayStation. So if you got one a couple of months ago, probably you may want to hedge your bets and trade it in to get as much money as you can to bankroll the purchase of a PlayStation 4K when it comes out, if that's important to you. For me, it is. I mean, I don't have a 4K TV. I'm not going to be buying one anytime soon. But if the difference between playing a game at 30 frames a second at 900p or playing it at 60 frames a second at 1080p, and that does genuinely have an impact on gameplay. 60 frames per second games, Call of Duty is the prime example of this. The fidelity, the control, the responsiveness, the delay between you moving an analog stick and you seeing the results on screen is much, much lower at 60 frames than it is at 30. And, 1080p, 60 frames locked, non-stop, that is something I will hold off buying a PlayStation for. And particularly because Sony is allowing existing games that have been released already to be patched to make them take advantage of the PlayStation Neo hardware, and the fact that I'll be buying a PlayStation 4 for the exclusive games. I would find it very difficult to believe that From Software won't release a 60 frames a second 1080p patch for Bloodborne. They're definitely going to do that for Uncharted 4. Any other exclusive games that have come out or that are likely to come out this year, if they don't come out with PlayStation 4K support from the get-go, they will be patched post-release to support it once it's released. So yeah, I'm not, am I going to spend £400 on a new console only for it to see $100 slashed off the price and a significantly better version of the same machine coming out at the end of the year? So I can, if I had that, I could have this game at 60 frames a second. I mean, Uncharted 4's single player is 1080p at 30 frames a second. There are apparently a couple of areas where the frame rate dips down a bit, and there might be a bit of stuttering and stuff. Frame rate drops a bit, but they're apparently, for the most part, it's pretty steady 30 frames. But if I can, for someone like myself, if I can get 60 frames a second out of the single player by waiting till the end of the year for PlayStation 4K, I will. Assuming I buy one. I mean, who knows? Well, I mean, this is the thing is, again, there are rumors about an improved version of the Xbox One. I mean, we know that Microsoft has, with the FCC in the United States, which is a regulator to do with electronics and radio transmitters and stuff like that. We know that Microsoft has registered 2 new devices with them. That are believed to be, at least one of them is believed to be a new version of the Xbox One, but whether it's a slimmed down, smaller version of the existing hardware or an actual upgrade, we don't know. But there's information on both that the FCC has got that is held under non-disclosure agreements until after E3. So we may be getting some very interesting information from Microsoft come E3. And then there's Nintendo NX and. Again, I've already. I mean, this is going back on a bit me retreading an existing path in terms of my irritation of being presented with maybe up to 1,500 quid's worth of potential purchases at Christmas. I'm not going to get another Xbox One, even if it's got better hardware, for no other reason than I own so few games for it. And the vast bulk of the games I got for free through Games with Gold. I'll keep the Xbox Live subscription. I bought Halo 5. I'll continue to buy the odd exclusive game for it if I'm interested. But right now, again, PC's become my principal, my poison of choice. And I really, really want to play Uncharted 4, but I do not like the idea of going out and spending 400 quid on a brand new box only to have 100 quid slashed off the price of it within a matter of weeks. And that's the be all and end all of it. Anyway, this is Defub21. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know what you think about PlayStation 4K. Any thoughts on a new improved version of the Xbox One? Any thoughts on the Nintendo's plans of the NX? We have no idea. Again, Zelda's going to be at E3, but nothing else. So we won't know about Nintendo's new console probably till, it could be as late as the Tokyo Game Show, which wouldn't be till November, December this year, and it's out in March the next year. Yeah, it's bonkers. It's all bonkers. As the Chinese would say, may you live in interesting times. And for those who don't know, that's not a compliment. It's an insult, effectively. But this is, as I said, this is Defub21. Let me know what you think about this whole shenanigans in the comments. If there's any other subjects you'd like to ask me about, you'd like me to do a video about, again, let me know in the comments. Please like this video. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so for more content about me complaining about things and not complaining about things. Toodaloo.